How pivotal, how important will this verdict then be?
So this verdict could be very important, but it's also coming still very ahead of Election Day. So this is, really remains to be seen. The argument for this being important is there is polling that shows that if he's a convicted felon, then that changes key voters in swing states, their opinion of him, and a majority of them say they would not vote for him to be president. However, there's still a lot of time for opinion to change between a verdict, coming in the next couple weeks and Election Day, as well as this also has the potential to galvanize some of his supporters, saying, look, this is a case, dealing with lurid details that happened a long time ago. Some people even suggest this isn't as important of a case as some of the others, which are unlikely to go to trial. So this could end up helping him rather than hurting him.
Well, there's an argument to be made. He already has seen it helping him in terms of the ability to fundraise off of this and other legal headaches. Laura, we got the latest figures for the month of April, and Trump, for the first time of this election cycle, outraised Biden. He in the RNC polling in $76 million, Biden in the DNC, $51 million. It'll be a few more months before we can say a pattern has been established, but certainly the campaign must be proud of these figures.
They are. They touted these very broadly, and the Biden campaign notably was a little bit more muted when they were announcing their numbers. What's important to see here in this data when you dig down is some of his biggest donors, folks like Harold Hamm, Warren Kelsey, are not only donating to his campaign, but also to his PAC that is paying his legal fees, which suggests that these donors, are supportive of making sure that he can get all the legal help he needs as he goes through all of these trials.
It's funny how we cover these because it's a big deal. It's the first time it's happened in this campaign to see Trump and the party outraise Biden and the other party. But the fact is, cash on hand is another story, right? Joe Biden finished April with $85 million on hand, Trump with $48 million. But I still question the impact. We're talking about the king of earned media. How much does money really matter here?
So Trump has said that he anticipates he will raise less than the Biden campaign. So they are already going into this thinking they will need less money. They've opened fewer battleground offices in places like Michigan and Pennsylvania. They're planning to spend less money, keeping a very lean operation. However, when we get into the final phases of this campaign, money could be very important. You remember back in 2020, the Trump campaign ran out of money in key times. It had to cut TV ads in the crucial stretch up to the election.
All right, Bloomberg's Laura Davison always tracking the money for us. Thank you so much. Meantime, President Biden is trumpeting his legislative accomplishments in New Hampshire, at least he was earlier today, specifically discussing the PACT Act that's helped veterans and survivors receive disability benefits.
Look at all those firefighters that died of cancer as a consequence of being exposed to those toxic fumes. Headaches, numbness, dizziness, trouble breathing, cancer, brain cancer. Folks, you suffered long enough. You shouldn't have to prove that your illness came from their service. But thanks to the PACT Act, you don't have to prove it now. My son Bo was one of those veterans. So this is personal to me and my family and to his family and his children.
Let's go now to Bloomberg's Jordan Fabian, White House correspondent for us. So, Jordan, we're seeing him take a legislative accomplishment and talk about it on the road, which we have seen not just with the PACT Act, but repeatedly with some of his other big pieces of legislation he's been able to shepherd through, the IRA, the CHIPS Act, et cetera. Still, though, there is the question of to what extent voters actually see those as Biden administration accomplishments, and he can get that to resonate as he seeks re-election.
That's been the struggle, Kailey. And what the White House has been trying to calibrate is how they talk about the accomplishments while balancing, acknowledging some of the economic hardships that Americans are still facing thanks to inflation. And so this has been a struggle internally at the White House and at the Biden campaign for months now. And, they're continuing to try and really spin a positive message. Our poll, other polls have showed it hasn't really stuck yet, but they're going to keep at it and hope that as voters, pay closer attention as the election gets closer, that this message will resonate and that they will have sort of done the groundwork necessary to make that sink in.
The matter of Israel is still dogging this president and the man who's running for re-election, the candidate Joe Biden. Earlier today, the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, testified before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, had this to say about the humanitarian situation in Gaza.
The people of Gaza, children, women, men, are experiencing an acute humanitarian crisis. And food, water, medicine, shelter, all of these things are in severe short supply. And we've been working every single day as well since October 7th to try to make sure that they could get what they need.
This, Jordan, as the administration now expresses outrage over the International Criminal Court preparing arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu, other Israeli leaders, alongside leaders of Hamas. The president making clear there's no equivalency here. It's getting more difficult for the administration to get its arms around the situation in Israel with time, not less difficult.
Yeah, and the ICC decision or the prosecutor's efforts here is making it even more difficult.
That's right.
Because all along, the Biden administration has tried to play this carrot and stick game with Israel, saying, look, if you guys do a ceasefire, if you make your best effort, if you hold back from Rafah, normalization with the Saudis is on the table. Mm-hmm. All these other goodies are on the table. This bomb shipment that's been on hold. Mm-hmm. But if you go forward, then we're going to have to crack down. Now, the ICC saying we're going to pursue Benjamin Netanyahu for war crimes, mm-hmm. That causes Netanyahu to retrench, not try to make any outreach to the Palestinian Authority, to other Arab countries who might try to help with the future of Gaza, and it blunts the president's leverage to try to get Netanyahu to agree to do those things because he's now been put in a box. And so all that amounts to is that this war could go on for even longer because he's feeling boxed in and needs to fight back.
And potentially that is the greatest political, or that could be the most debilitating politically for Joe Biden if by the time we're getting closer to the election, there is no ceasefire, temporary or otherwise.
Absolutely. I think we were at this table a couple weeks ago at the moment where it really thought a ceasefire, mm-hmm. It really seemed like a ceasefire was possible. And this was a make or break moment for Joe Biden. It seems to be breaking. The longer this goes on, the worse it is politically. If we go into the summer, close to the Democratic National Convention, if those demonstrators are outside the convention hall, there's going to be a lot of parallels drawn to 1968, a lot of bad headlines that this president doesn't want.